Let's talk about how poor Chelsea have been in these handful of matches, especially in the Europa League conference against Warsaw. Now, granted, I will say we are advancing, so we have a clean plate going in the next round. But looking at what we just saw in this match, it is remarkable that Chelsea are advancing. If it wasn't for that one half of scoring 3 goals, I think Warsaw would be moving on. The fact that we lost to Warsaw at Stamford Bridge just shows you the big issues currently that are happening at Chelsea and with Enzo Maresca. And in this video, we're going to talk about some of these issues and why this could be a huge problem for the rest of the season and into next season, because currently Chelsea are limping at the moment into the final third of this season with not only the Conference League but also with the Premier League. We just witnessed us draw to Ipswich, a team that's getting relegated. We just lost to Warsaw. If we look at the 4 halves we had against Warsaw, they were better 3 of the 4. And like I said, we scored 3 goals in that one half. If that did not happen, again, things could went in a whole different direction. Granted, it did not, but in this last match against Warsaw, they were just beating us around. They had so many opportunities. Jorgensen was struggling, let's be real here. And people were talking about how he should start over Robert Sanchez. I don't think he has a case after yesterday with that match and what all happened, because if it wasn't for some of the other players that played for us, I think we would have ended up losing that 3-0 victory we had over them, and we could have been going to extra time. And like I said, it's shocking because of the players that we have at this club. Cole Palmer has dropped off a complete cliff with Enzo Maresca. Let's be real here. Last season was just lighting up the league, and he was at the beginning of the season, but I think that's due to the fact that we were going off of what Pochettino had been building of last season, and now Enzo Maresca, with his tactics, his styles, his management, Cole Palmer is just taking a complete nosedive. And it's not just him. There are multiple players that have been struggling this season with Enzo Maresca and his play style. And it is now starting to look like this could be worrisome for this club. Now, I usually try to be optimistic, but after watching that match yesterday, it's a little difficult to be optimistic. And like I said, I should be grateful that we are moving into the semifinals. We should be winning the semifinals to get to the final. I don't know who we're going to be playing yet in the final, obviously, and I shouldn't maybe even look that far forward because who knows what could happen in the semifinals. But we should be making it, and we should be winning this Conference League against Florentino, or I think it's Real Betis. Both teams obviously are very quality teams that are going to make it to the final, and either of those teams could obviously beat us depending on how we perform these next couple of weeks and months, because like I said, there's been zero confidence with these players. There's been zero output for most of our players, and yes, I understand some of the players have been still playing well. Cucurella, obviously, we're going to make a whole video about him, how he's probably the best Chelsea player this season and why he deserves the player of the season for Chelsea, but again, different video for that. Again, Concedo didn't play in this game. Enzo Fernandez didn't play in this game, so maybe that made a huge difference. But like I said, the rest of the squad looked bang average at best throughout this entire match. It wasn't until the 60th minute we made a few subs. Noni coming on, I believe George came on as well, and it was a huge different dynamic, which again is shocking that George didn't start this match, because we saw him play well last time against Warsaw. He should have gotten the nod to start this game. Yes, I understand the players that we started with Nkuku, Jane Sancho, Cole Palmer, Jackson. We're trying to build their confidence, but this is a game that, again, we want younger players to show their worth, to show the drive, because what that's going to do, it's going to actually make the players that, again, like Cole Palmer, like Nkuku, like Jackson, realize there's players behind them that are pushing for their spots. But when they have a game like they had yesterday, now it looks like it's wide open for anyone. And granted, George is not going to start over any of these players this season. And they're very fortunate, because if this was like the Mourinho era, Mourinho would have been benching them. And granted, Mourinho obviously had different players that he could have pinned into those areas. You think about Kevin De Bruyne couldn't even make it into the starting 11. You think Mohamed Salah. These guys, again, were put on the bench. I think Cole Palmer would be the same scenario, but we do not have a player that is his caliber that can come off the bench and play how he plays. And it's unfortunate that he has been playing so bad. But again, you have to look at what's happening with the tactics. And this is, again, where I think a lot of people aren't realizing, or maybe they're not realizing, is the big issue, and it is the tactics because we're not allowing players to do what they should be doing. Mine's maybe Jaden Sancho, mine's maybe Noni, and maybe Jackson, who now is coming back fully fit. So again, maybe that's been part of the issue. We haven't had a proper number 9 up top, and that has caused issues. And because it's been so long with Jackson being missing, some of these players aren't used to having a 9 making those runs, making those passes, and making those through balls, and that could be a huge difference. But really, overall, from front to back or top to bottom, however you want to look at it, there is not a single player right now that I fully trust in besides Cucurella. Even Reece James, I think, yes, you can obviously rely on him too, but you never know with injuries for the most part. And the CDM role, I think, has been working fairly okay for him, but again, it's against Warsaw. This is Cancedo's spot. If he does obviously move back into that right position, move up, it makes a huge difference. But overall, I'm currently curious how the rest of the season goes for this club, and I do want to know, what do you guys think how Chelsea will finish in the Conference League and obviously the league itself? So comment down below, like and link if you do enjoy this video, and I will see you in the next video.